Did you know that over 2 million home invasions occur each year in the United States alone? Think about that for a second. 2 million times someone's sanctuary, their safe place, was violated. 2 million times someone stood in the darkness where they shouldn't be. Now imagine it's you. Imagine being home alone and you hear a noise, a bump in the night. What do? Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today we're diving into the theme of fear and isolation with 3 terrifying home alone horror stories that are guaranteed to send shivers down your spine. So grab your blanket, turn off the lights, and let's get into it. Our first story takes us deep into suburbia, a place where everyone knows their neighbors, and the most excitement comes from the occasional stray cat. This is where we meet Sarah, a young woman who's just looking forward to a relaxing evening. Picture this. Sarah's snuggled on the couch. The warm glow of the TV casts flickering shadows on the walls. Her favorite movie is playing, and she has a giant bowl of popcorn in her lap. It's the perfect setting for a quiet night in. At first, it's just a subtle noise, a tap, 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 almost like a branch brushing against the window. But the wind is calm tonight, eerily calm. Sarah pauses the movie, her eyes darting towards the window. The tapping continues, more insistent now. Fear begins to creep in, crawling up her spine like a spider. She tells herself it's nothing, just a branch, just the wind playing tricks on her. But deep down, a primal instinct whispers a warning. Mustering a burst of courage, Sarah throws back the curtain. Darkness, that's all she sees, the impenetrable black void of night. Relief washes over her, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. Just as she's about to turn away, the tapping starts again, louder this time, more urgent. She scans the darkness again, searching for any logical explanation. There's nothing. No branches, no animals, nothing but the unsettling feeling that she's not alone. Sarah spends the rest of the night huddled on the couch, every creak of the house, every rustle of leaves outside, sending her heart racing. The tapping continues sporadically throughout the night, a relentless reminder of the unseen terror lurking just outside her window. By morning, exhaustion pulls at her, but fear keeps her firmly in its grip. As the sun finally begins to rise, casting its warm rays into her living room, she dares to approach the window once more. The daylight reveals nothing out of the ordinary. No signs of anyone or anything that could have been tapping at her window all night. But the fear, the chilling memory of that night, lingers long after the sun has risen. Our next story takes us from the quiet suburbs to a house nestled on the edge of town, a place where secrets seem to linger in the shadows. This is where we find Jake, a teenager left home alone for the weekend, excited for a taste of freedom. The first day passes without incident, filled with video games, junk food, and all the glorious freedom that comes with being home alone. But as the sun begins to set, casting long, eerie shadows across the house, a sense of unease settles over Jake. He hears it first from the basement, a low thump, followed by a scraping sound. Initially, he dismisses it, attributing it to the old house settling. But as the noises continue, growing louder and more frequent, his curiosity, mixed with a growing sense of dread, gets the better of him. Armed with nothing but a flashlight, his heart pounding in his chest, Jake slowly descends the creaky basement stairs. The air grows heavy, thick with the smell of damp earth and something else, something unidentifiable and unsettling. His flashlight beam cuts through the darkness, revealing the familiar clutter of the basement. He circles the room, his heart pounding in his ears, each step echoing in the silence. And then he sees it, a door that's never been there before, tucked away in the far corner, almost hidden in the shadows. It's slightly ajar, a sliver of impenetrable darkness beckoning him forward. Logic screams at him to turn back, to run back upstairs and lock himself in his room. But an unseen force, an insatiable curiosity, compels him forward. He reaches for the door, his hand trembling, and pushes it open. The darkness within seems to have a life of its own, a palpable entity that wraps around him, squeezing the air from his lungs. His flashlight beam struggles to penetrate the oppressive darkness, revealing nothing but more darkness. Terror, raw and consuming, grips him. He stumbles back, tripping over his own feet, and crashes to the ground. As he scrambles to his feet, desperate to escape the suffocating darkness, he hears it. A low growl, guttural and menacing, emanating from the heart of the darkness he has just disturbed. He doesn't wait to see what lurks within. He scrambles to his feet and runs, his heart pounding in his chest, the terrifying growl echoing in his ears. He doesn't stop running until he reaches the safety of his room, slamming the door shut and locking it behind him. He spends the rest of the night huddled in the corner, his back pressed against the wall, the memory of the darkness and the growl seared into his mind. The next morning, armed with his dad's baseball bat, he cautiously ventures back down to the basement. But the door is gone, vanished without a trace. The only evidence of his terrifying ordeal is the lingering sense of dread and the unshakable feeling that he was not meant to open that door, to disturb the darkness that lay beyond. Chapter 3. The Family's Story. Our final story takes us to a seemingly idyllic home, a place where dreams are supposed to come true, not turn into nightmares. This is where a young family, eager for a fresh start, unknowingly moves into a house with a dark secret. The move is chaotic, as moves often are, filled with the clatter of boxes and the excited chatter of children. The parents, exhausted but happy, finally get their children tucked into bed. The house is filled with the promise of a new beginning, but as the silence of night descends, a chill creeps into the air, settling over the house like a shroud. It starts subtly, a whisper of sound, easily dismissed as the house settling. But then it grows louder, more distinct. Laughter, the unmistakable sound of children laughing, echoing up the hallway. The parents exchange puzzled glances. Their own children are fast asleep in their rooms. Who could be making those noises? They slowly creep out of bed and peek into their children's rooms. Both children are sound asleep, their chests rising and falling rhythmically. The laughter continues, echoing through the empty hallway, sending shivers down their spines. Fear, primal and instinctive, takes root. They cautiously venture out of their room and follow the sound of the laughter, their hearts pounding in their chests. It seems to be coming from the furthest end of the hallway, from the direction of the spare room. They slowly push open the door, their breath catching in their throats. The room is empty, bathed in the eerie glow of the moon shining through the window. And yet, the laughter continues, seeming to swirl around them, mocking their fear. Days turn into weeks, and the laughter becomes a nightly occurrence, a chilling reminder that they are not alone in their new home. Sleep becomes a distant memory, replaced by a constant state of fear and unease. Driven to desperation, they begin to research the history of their home, hoping to find some explanation for the terrifying occurrences. Their search leads them to a chilling discovery. Decades earlier, a family had lived in the house, a family with 2 young children. One tragic night, a fire swept through the house, claiming the lives of the children. The parents, driven mad by grief, were said to have disappeared without a trace. The parents are horrified. Their seemingly perfect home, their sanctuary, is built upon a foundation of tragedy and despair. The realization hits them like a physical blow. The laughter, the chilling presence they feel in their home, it's not malevolent, it's mournful. The spirits of the children trapped in the house, forever yearning for the family they lost. Armed with this knowledge, the parents decide to do something radical. They turn the spare room into a playroom, filled with toys and games, a tribute to the children who lost their lives in the house. They even leave a nightlight on, a beacon of warmth and comfort in the darkness. That night, for the first time since they moved in, the laughter is different. It's still there, but it's softer now, gentler, tinged with a hint of melancholy. It's no longer a sound of torment, but a sound of remembrance, a reminder that even in death, love and family can transcend. So, what can we take away from these chilling tales? They remind us of the vulnerability we feel when we're home alone and the dark corners of our minds that can conjure up terrifying scenarios. Fear and isolation are powerful forces, and they can make even the safest places feel like a nightmare. Sometimes the scariest monsters aren't the ones hiding under the bed or lurking in the closet, but the ones we create in our own minds. The fear of the unknown, the fear of being alone, these are the fears that can truly paralyze us. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something scary while being home alone? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's get a little creepy together. And if you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more chilling stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.